Have you ever looked at a diamond and thought, why does this one look like it's bathed in sunlight while this one looks like it's a glacier? Today, we're diving deep into the world of diamond color and addressing your biggest questions. So get ready for a bright and shiny episode about diamond ring color. I'm a master diamond setter. My name is Vanessa Nicole, and I absolutely love making incredible custom rings here with the most beautiful diamonds. And just so you don't think I forgot, there are entire videos devoted just to size, cut, and clarity, which are the other 3/4 of the 4C. So be sure to check those out. But this video is going to be all about diamond color. Now, after size and cut, my clients typically rank this third based on visual importance for how to allocate their budget, because whether your budget is $10,000 or $100,000, the color is going to play a role in determining the cost of that diamond. Diamond color refers to the presence or absence of color in a diamond. And when it comes to the white diamonds used in fine jewelry, the less color a diamond has, the more valuable it is. And this is because a completely colorless diamond allows maximum amount of light to pass through it, resulting in a high level of brilliance. Now, you might be wondering why some diamonds have a warm tone to them. The warmer yellow tone in a diamond is primarily due to the presence of nitrogen atoms within its crystal structure. Now, I will quickly point out that this video isn't going to cover what are called fancy colored diamonds, because not all colored diamonds are considered less valuable. Diamonds that exhibit strong, vivid colors like blue, pink, green, and red are called fancy colored diamonds and are actually rarer and more valuable than white diamonds. And their grading is totally different from white diamonds based on the intensity and quality of the color rather than the lack of it. The Gemological Institute of America, also known as GIA, grades diamond color on a scale from D to Z. And here is a breakdown of those colors. So D through F is colorless. G through J is near colorless. K through M is faint. N through R is very light. And S through Z is light. I will say that for the majority of diamond curation that I do for my clients, we select diamonds between D through J, and it really depends on the shape of the diamond, whether or not they prefer a warmer tone or icy white. And I do have some clients who just absolutely love that warm tone. Some might even venture into the KLM category, and they're always very surprised by how white they actually can face up. But of course, if you were to put an M color next to a D color, one would just be completely different than the other. So it's important to get a sense of what color tone you prefer. Something important to point out here is that diamonds are graded upside down and often face up whiter than their grade might suggest. So don't be too focused on the grade report, because she's not going to be walking around with a report on her finger, and no one typically asks what color the diamond is. Usually they focus on size and how bright it sparkles. Now let's talk about fluorescence. Some diamonds can emit a visible light when exposed to ultraviolet rays, and this quality is called fluorescence. And in some cases, fluorescence can make a yellowish diamond appear more white, such as G through K colors. And generally, you want to avoid the strong blue grade in D through F colors, and in rare cases, fluorescence can even give the diamond a hazy or oily appearance, but this can be determined based on visual inspection, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. And honestly, don't let that scare you, because I've seen plenty of gorgeous diamonds have fluorescence and actually look even more amazing than others without it. So it really does have to be assessed on a case-by-case basis. Okay, let's help you choose the right color. When buying a diamond, the best color grade depends on individual preferences and budget, because some people prefer the completely colorless range, while others are perfectly happy with near colorless, because some colors are actually almost imperceptible to the naked eye, and the price difference can be significant. I've had some clients who absolutely love warmer tone diamonds, and based on how well it's cut, it's going to affect how white it appears. I've seen plenty of cases where you have two G color diamonds side by side, for example, and one just faces up so much whiter than the other, and usually how well it's cut is going to assist with that. But this is why it's so difficult for you to purchase a diamond online without comparing multiple diamonds side by side in order to find the whitest version of that color. See, with my clients, I look at dozens of diamonds with my eyes to ensure they get the best value for the color they're paying for. And diamond dealers affectionately call me Eagle Eye, because I notice every little thing about the diamonds, and I'm very picky. And this service is not something that we charge for. It's a value add when it comes to having somebody hire me to create their custom diamond ring and select a diamond with them. It's just a lot of fun for me, because I get to look and play with diamonds, and you get the value add of having someone who's type A and just very particular about making sure that you get the absolute best value. Let's talk about the color of the ring setting, because the color of a diamond can also be affected or complemented by the metal in which it's set. For instance, diamonds with a color grade of I or J might appear significantly whiter when set in yellow gold, whereas they might appear slightly yellowish when set in white gold or platinum. It really just depends. And remember, while color is crucial in determining a diamond's value, personal preference plays a significant role in the selection process. Quite frankly, some people just prefer the warm tones of a J or K diamond over the icy white of a D or E, especially when the setting or the style complements the stone's color. So leave a comment here and let me know if you prefer that icy white of a D color versus the warm tones of something that is along that JKL color. I'd love to show you a few examples of diamond selection videos that I've shown clients and that they have selected their center diamond from. I'm going to show you these because it's an excellent color comparison example, and some are going to be very close as far as the color goes. For example, E and F are both colorless and they're both right next to each other on the color scale. And then I'll also show you some colors that are much different in the near colorless category compared to a colorless. So let's take a look at this. As you can see, E versus F, they're very similar. Sometimes you'll even notice that one might face up a little bit whiter than others. That's going to be specific to the cut. So here is an E color, and then we'll fast forward a little bit, another E color, and then we'll fast forward to the F color. So obviously this particular client, it's really going to come down to which one that they feel most drawn to. Ultimately, when I'm selecting diamonds for clients, I want to make sure that they all have incredible sparkle, as these do, in different lighting conditions. Now this is the top of the near colorless category, the G, and this is the bottom of the near colorless category at J. So it goes G, H, I, J. So this gives you a really good visual of a variety within that near colorless category. Now something that is going to affect the color is how well it's cut. I know we're focusing specifically on color in this video, but really the 4 C's do all play with each other in terms of the final result of how it looks visually. So if you're taking a look at this, you can see how they look on the finger in different lighting conditions. So this is fluorescent lighting, just in your regular office setting. That's an eye color. Now looking at this J color, you'll notice that it does face up incredibly bright white, as many J color diamonds do. It really does depend on the cut and how all of the 4 C's play together. Now this particular eye color faces up incredibly bright white, and it is very white partly because of how well it's cut. And so that is something important to consider. Take a look at this J color as well. It's just absolutely gorgeous and sparkling white. So looking at this, there is no fancy diamond lighting being used here. This is just regular office fluorescent lighting. And it's important to get a sense of how the diamonds look in person like this, and for our clients, they're using our eyes to do that in-person step on their behalf. And I do believe it's important because you can have several diamonds side by side that one just looks like a very low warm J color and others look like a very bright white J color. So when I'm evaluating diamonds for clients, you can't tell on the GIA report if it faces up incredibly bright white, even if it is a triple X. Sometimes you can have a triple X diamond on the left and a triple X diamond on the right, both J color, and one just faces up brighter. There's something about how it's cut. So this is something that I keep in mind when sourcing diamonds for clients, whether they want a D color or a J color. It really does depend on their budget and where they're placing their preferences for the diamond, whether it's on size, fitting it within a certain price range, or if they really want something cut a certain way. And I would say most of my clients want a very healthy balance of all of them, but it really just does depend. Now, when you start to go into the direct sunlight, all of the diamonds start to get a little bit darker. However, this is where you're going to see that fire and the color and the pop, and that's a really fun part of seeing diamonds. Obviously, people love to see that sparkle. Now let's move on to an entirely different shape, which is a cushion cut. This particular client wanted square cushions. Some people prefer the rectangular, but this particular client wanted square. So we're going with a D color, another D color, and then an F color. So let's play this and see the difference in color. Now, some people might say they automatically want to go for size, and other people might say, oh, I want to keep it a little bit smaller but get that D color. So it really does depend on what your preferences are. When it comes to selecting a diamond shape that is anything other than a round, the shape of the diamond is going to be very, very important in ultimately determining which one your favorite is going to be. Because even with the case of 3 square diamonds, one of them, which is the last one, has a bit more of a pillowy shape than the initial 2. So the one on the far left, if I bring us back to this here and pause it, this one is the most square in terms of the straight angles. This particular diamond on the right had more of a pillowy, taller crown, which is the top half of the diamond. And on the left here, this crown was a bit flatter in comparison to the number 3. So even though one is a D and one is an F, ultimately the client might decide to make their choice based on the overall shape because they are technically all colorless diamonds. So this is where you have to decide what type of diamond, looking at it holistically, do I want for my ring? Do I want something very specific in terms of just the color, or am I open to something that is an F color because it's still colorless? When you're evaluating diamonds, if you already know in advance that you want colorless, then I would be targeting a search very, very specific to your desires. If you're open to a variety of colors and we have more of a swing in budget, let's say a $5,000 spread, we can show you some other options so that way you can decide if it's worth it to splurge. In this particular case, the client already knew they wanted to splurge and they wanted to get the most they could from their budget. So they wanted to see colorless options and then pick mostly based on the overall shape that they wanted. And then all of them in that direct sunlight has just incredible sparkle. So I'm always evaluating the sparkle factor on any selection that we're showing. Now here's an interesting one. Let's talk about oval cuts and the colors, because this is a perfect example of it not just being about one of the C's, which is in this case color. So we have an F on the left and an H on the right. Now when I play this, you'll notice that this one has a longer ratio and this one has more body to it. Some people love more body in their diamond and other people want that length. So it really does depend. And sometimes people make that decision based on the shape of their finger, if they have very long, slender fingers, versus if they have wider fingers that they're trying to fill out to the side. In this particular case, the client was going to be going with a halo design, my signature seamless halo. And so they already knew that they were going to be adding width to the design. So ultimately they chose the 170H color instead of the 170F because to them they wanted that ratio. Obviously both of them have incredible sparkle, so that wasn't something that they had to consider in terms of a comparison. And really it just came down to the ultimate shape, because as what on C, that H is just so bright and sparkly compared to the F. Even the H does tend to face up whiter overall based on how it's cut. It's not leaking light in the same way that the F color is. So in some cases, some people might say, oh, by definition, the F, according to the grade report, would be the more valuable stone, whereas many people from a visual perspective would look at that H and say, oh, that's definitely the more valuable stone from a visual perspective, because you're just getting to see all of that whiteness and it's just absolutely gorgeous. Now you will notice a slight warmth difference. So this has more of an icy color and this one has a slight warmth to it. But that's going to be something that you have to decide. Do you prefer all of the other factors going into the diamond versus just the one color? So totally up to you. Now here we have a radiant cut selection. And what's interesting about this one is that they are all colorless and they are all very large. So either way, you're going to be seeing a lot of sparkle and a lot of icy white. Whether or not you ultimately go with a D versus an E, if you were looking at only colorless options, is entirely up to you. It really does depend on your preference. When it comes to round versus radiant, the radiant is always going to have the decision being made based on the overall shape and ratio, which is that length to width ratio, versus whether it's a D versus E color. Because usually at this point, they're already both very icy white, and it really just depends on the overall shape that you want for your ring. Because as you can see, the 409 here just has a more slender shape overall, as opposed to number 1 and 2, which have a little bit more body to them. You can take a look at that sparkle. It's absolutely incredible. I wanted to go over this oval cut selection because even though they are both D color, this is a scenario again where you can't just choose based on the color, because ultimately it is going to come down to the shape. Both are D color, both are absolutely gorgeous. I bring this one up because you can see that the light plays differently with the diamond based on the shape. So in this case, just purely looking at the clarity grade here, one might think that they might dismiss it because they think, oh, something might be wrong or visibly included. But this particular diamond had absolutely zero visible inclusions to the naked eye. And I knew that this client wanted a longer ratio, but they were still open to a diamond with a little bit more body. And they originally only said they would look at VS Clarity diamonds. And I wanted to show them that if I showed them both D color, by selecting one that is just completely icy white with zero bow tie in the center, which that DSI absolutely was just stunning in terms of the overall make, compared to what on paper seemed to be the better diamond, simply on paper. They ultimately chose the one on the left because it ticked more boxes that they were looking for with their dream ideal diamond. But both diamonds are absolutely gorgeous. It really just depends on what you're looking for. And that's why you can't solely look at the color when you're selecting a diamond off of a grade report. Taking a look at these cushions, we've got a D, an H, and an I, which is a gorgeous spread in terms of variety for someone to choose from when they're looking at diamonds if they absolutely have no idea which direction they want to go in. Normally, I say let's try to narrow down whether it's the size or narrow it down to the color. But in this case, they knew that they wanted a square, and everything outside of that, they did not know what they wanted. So we put together a more broad search for them. So as you can see, the D color is icier white versus the I color, which has a little bit more warmth to it. So you're gonna see that subtle variation in color on this particular selection. And obviously when you put the I next to a colorless D, it is going to face up warmer. That being said, if we are to look over here, this does face up very bright white all by itself when it's not next to a D color. When I'm selecting diamonds for the setting, I am color matching as closely as possible all of the diamonds on the setting next to that center diamond. So that's very important whenever you're creating a custom setting, because that way you can ensure seamless sparkle from the setting to that center diamond rather than having one stand out more than the other. And of course, they all have absolutely beautiful sparkle. Now, taking a look at this setting, this is a J color diamond in a custom setting here. So as you can see, it's absolutely gorgeous and bright and white. So if you are looking for a J color diamond or something that's not colorless, you can rest assured that you can absolutely find absolutely gorgeous, bright white colors. Taking a look at how it looks on the finger, it faces up incredibly bright white. You'll notice that the craftsmanship includes diamonds set very close together, those very sleek, thin claw prongs. And looking at this close up, it's just absolutely stunning. And that diamond faces up incredibly bright white. So whether you're looking for a D color or a J color or even a K, L, or M color, it's so important to select one that's absolutely incredibly bright white, and somebody that can source diamonds on your behalf and actually look at many on your behalf to narrow down the best ones is going to be so beneficial for you. And if you're looking for your perfect diamond and realize now that it's much more involved than you originally thought, feel free to reach out to the studio at vanessanicole.com. Our diamond creation service, it's complimentary with each ring that we create. And I would just love to learn more about what you're looking to make, and I would absolutely love to exceed your expectations with it. You know, I just love creating the most beautiful diamond rings, and it's just really important to remember that while the technical aspects of color grading are essential, the perfect diamond is the one that resonates with your personal style and story. Okay, if you're loving today's topic, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more inspiring content about diamond rings. Thanks for joining me today, and until next time, keep shining.